Alright, welcome to section 2 of chapter 4. In this video we are going to start looking at all the different organelles or structures inside your cell which help make it function. I highly suggest you make some flashcards for these. There are a lot of structures in there and you're going to need to know what each of them do. To start off, let's talk about what organelles are. So cells are small, but inside them there's even like tinier little structures that help the cell carry out its functions, whatever type of cell it might be. It's going to depend on the different organelles that are in there for function-wise and what it needs to do. These little things inside our cell we are going to refer to as organelles. So this video is going to go in depth on a few of our organelles. In our next video we'll finish that off. So here is your just list of organelles that you are going to need to know for this chapter. Again, there are a lot of them, so my advice would be to make flashcards or something to study specifically what they are and where they can be found and what type of cells they can be in. Our first one is going to be a cell wall. Our cell wall is going to be a rigid layer outside, like just outside surrounding the cell. This rigid layer is going to add support and structure to it, and it will also be protection. A cell wall is not found in all cells. It is found in plant cells and a lot of fungus cells, but animal cells normally do not have cell walls. Bacteria cells don't normally have cell walls. Some protists might. Again, some bacteria might as well, but in the grand scheme of things, it's mostly found in plant cells. So this cell wall is mostly made up of a sugar called cellulose, and we'll get into sugars later on this chapter, but anything that ends in OUS, like sucrose, dextrose, cellulose, fructose, those are all sugars, so keep that in mind. Your basic sugar would be glucose. Our cell wall does allow some materials such as water and oxygen to pass through it, but it's really there for structure and protection. Just inside our cell wall, as you can see in our little graphic, we have a cell wall that surrounds it here, and just inside we have a cell membrane or a plasma membrane. This is found in all cells, so even animal cells will have this. This is going to control what goes in and out of our cell. You can think of it as our border patrol. If water comes by and our cell needs water, it'll take it in. If it doesn't, it will keep it out. Next, probably the most important organelle to know is the nucleus. The nucleus is the brain of the cell. This is your control center. It's going to direct all the functions that this cell needs to do. It is made up of 3 smaller structures. The first is your nuclear envelope, which is very similar to your cell membrane, where it helps protect the nucleus and whatever's inside it, which is the chromatid, and the nucleolus from its surroundings. There are pores that are in this that allow things to pass in and out of, so it can transform material and RNA mostly. Next is our chromatid. This is what contains your genetic material. These are your chromosomes. And those are your genetic material is your instructions for what your cell is going to do. Also inside the nucleus you have what's called a nucleolus, which its purpose is to produce ribosomes. Ribosomes are going to be very important in protein synthesis, so you will be hearing me tell you over and over again that ribosomes are important and you should know what they do, because when we get to protein synthesis in a few chapters, it's pretty complicated if you don't understand what a ribosome is. So here's a little image of your nucleus. You can see this whole thing would be found inside the cell. It will have a layer, nuclear envelope around it, and it does have pores that let things go in. Your chromatid lives inside, and also inside you have a smaller sphere type structure called a nucleolus, which makes your ribosomes. Our next video is going to look more into the other types of organelles. So stay tuned for that.